Introduction to Volume 1. This report is submitted to the Attorney General pursuant to 28 CFR 608C, which states that a conclusion of the special counsel's work, he shall provide to the Attorney General a confidential report explaining the prosecution or declination decisions the special counsel reached. The Russian government interfered in the 2016 presidential election, in sweeping, systematic fashion. Evidence of Russian government operations began to surface in the mid-2016 in June. The Democratic National Committee and its cyber response team publicly announced that the Russian hackers had compromised its computer network. Releases of hacked materials, hacks that the public reported soon attributed to the Russian government, began the same month. In addition, releases followed in July through the organization of WikiLeaks, with further releases in October and November. In late July 2016, soon after WikiLeaks first released the stolen documents, a foreign government contacted FBI about a May 2016 encounter with Trump campaign foreign policy advisor George Papadopoulos. Papadopoulos had suggested that a representative of that foreign government that Trump campaign had received indications from the Russian government that it could assist the campaign through the anonymous release of information damaging the Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton. That information prompted the FBI on July 31st, 2016 to open an investigation into whether individuals associated with the Trump campaign were coordinating with the Russian government in its interference activities. That fall, two federal agencies jointly announced that the Russian government directly recent compromises of emails from U.S. persons and institutions, including U.S. political organizations, and these thefts and disclosures are intended to interfere with the U.S. election process. After the election in late December 2016, the United States imposed sanctions on Russia for having interfered in the election. By early 2017, several congressional committees were examining Russia interference in the election. Within the executive branch, these investigatory efforts ultimately led to the May 2017 appointment of Special Counsel Robert Mueller III. The order appointed the special counsel authorized him to investigate the Russian government's effort to interfere in the 2016 presidential election, including any links or coordination between the Russian government and individuals associated with the Trump campaign. As set forth in detail, this report, the special counsel's investigation established that Russia interfered in the 2016 presidential election, principally through two operations. First, a Russian entity carried out a social media campaign that favored presidential candidate Donald J. Trump and disparaged presidential candidate Hillary Clinton, my girl. Second, a Russian intelligence service conducted computer intrusion operation against entities, employees, and volunteers working on the Clinton campaign and then released stolen documents. The investigation also identified numerous links between the Russian government and Trump campaign. Although the investigation established that the Russian government perceived it would be a benefit for Trump presidency and worked to secure the outcome, and that campaign expected it would be that it would benefit electorally from information stolen and released through Russian efforts. The investigation did not establish the members of Trump campaign conspired to coordinate with the Russian government in its election interference activities. Below, we describe the evidentiary considerations underpinning statements about the results of our investigation and special counsel charging decisions, and we then provide an overview of the 2 volumes of our report. The report describes actions and events that the special counsel's office found to be supported by evidence collected in our investigation. In some instances, the report points out the absence of evidence and conflicts in the evidence about particular fact or event. In other instances, when substantial, credible evidence enabled the office to reach a conclusion with the confidence. The report states that the investigation established that certain actions or events occurred. A statement that investigation did not establish particular facts does not mean there was no evidence of these facts. What a bunch of crooked criminals. An evaluation whether evidence about collective action of multiple individuals constituted a crime. We applied the framework in conspiracy law, not the concept of collusion. Right. In so doing, the office recognized that the word collude was used communications with the acting attorney general confirming certain aspects of the investigation's scope, and the term frequently been invoked in public reporting. I remember when he started saying collusion and nobody said anything about collusion, but that Bob Barr did it. William Barr. But the conclusion did not specify a distinct theory of liability found in the United States Code, nor is it a term of art in federal criminal law. For those reasons, the office focus in analyzing questions of joint criminal liability was on conspiracy and defined the federal law. In connection with this analysis, we addressed the factual question whether members of the Trump campaign coordinated, a term that appears in the appointment order, with Russian election interference activities, like collusion. Coordination does not have the settled definition in federal criminal law. We understood coordination to require an agreement, tacit or express, between Trump campaign and the Russian government on election interference. That requires more than 2 parties taking actions that were informed by a responsive to the other's actions or interests. We applied the term coordination in the sense that stating the report in the investigation did not establish that the Trump campaign coordinated with the Russian government in its election interference activities. The report in our investigation consists of 2 volumes. Volume 1 describes the factual results of the special counsel's investigation of Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election and its interactions with the Trump campaign. Section 1 describes the scope of the investigation. Section 2 and 3 describe the principal ways that Russia interfered in the 2016 presidential election. Section 4 describes links between the Russian government and individuals associated with the Trump campaign. Section 5 sets forth the special counsel's charging decisions. Volume 2 it addresses the president's actions towards the FBI's investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election and related matters, and his actions towards the special counsel's investigation. Volume 2 separately states its framework and the considerations that guided that investigation. Oh, this is hot news. They're in the soup, man. Oh, they're going down.
Stop.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to say anything else?
I want to say that I've been an American citizen for 72 years and 2 weeks, and I'm pissed at these guys doing what they did to our beautiful country. If it goes like this, America the Beautiful is toast, and I'm not going to have that.